I have a friend who is a fellow trader, has traded this similar strategy for a lot of years, and has been very consistent. We used to call him Steve the Machine. His name is Steve Fairchild. He's from California, and he's a financial advisor by profession. Actually deals with a lot of clients to help them choose wise or financially sound investments for their portfolios. And it's funny, he always says he tries to find his customers the right avenues to make a 10% return annually on their money, and yet he does 10% or 20% on a daily basis with futures trading, and just kind of found that a little bit humorous there. But the thing I wanted to address today was his approach to trading, because I took a trade that I couldn't really explain in the terms of the way that I teach a general setup, but I call it the SF setup for Steve Fairchild, and that's what I mentioned today in the trading zone. Sorry about that. And so I wanted to teach you a little bit about what that is, so that you can possibly use this in your arsenal to be able to capitalize on different potential opportunities out there in the market. This was the trade that I took today, and it was off of the 2-minute chart. But the Steve Fairchild setup and the way he plays his trades is simply by looking for it's really simply taking a slightly different approach to a stair-step setup. But this is what he looks for. He likes to see this candle come here to a close and the next candle open basically at the same level. And he likes for there to be no wicks at all, or very, very short wicks, because that is a sign that there's a little more steady momentum behind it, versus a long wick is showing a lot of fluctuation. He takes his trades very conservatively. He doesn't go for more than 5 ticks, and what he does when he sees the setup, all things need to also be in this trade. For example, we want to see the SMAs in a short position, which they clearly are here. The MACD in a short position, that's not something he looks at, but it's something we do in this strategy, and so we want to see that as well. And we want to see everything leading towards a downward trend with the tricks. So everything is basically setting up the same way for a normal stair-step pattern. But when he has this setup here, he counts it as more of a stronger, more defined line of, in this case, support, or if this were going up, resistance. And in theory, when that mini support or resistance breaks, it should run. In theory, it doesn't happen all the time, but that's the whole technical analysis side of this, of support and resistance. And so what he does is he looks for that setup where he has these two meeting, opening and close at the same point, and then when the market continues going back in his direction, he places an order about 1 tick below that as it breaks, and he'll scoop up a good little 5 points off of that. That's exactly what I did on this particular pattern here. I took the trade as it went short, breaking this mini support level. I hit my 5-tick profit target on half my position and 7 ticks on the other half. So it came out pretty good for me on that one. Now Steve does not generally trade this on a 2-minute chart. I know his approach because he taught me, and he generally actually watches a 5, a 2-minute, and a 1-minute, but he takes his trades on the 1-minute. The reason he watches the 2 and the 5 is simply for that whole idea that I was talking about in some other videos with the tide, the wave, and the ripple. He wants to take the ripple that's going the same direction and wave length of the wave with the tide. So he'll watch the 5-minute chart, and he wants to see the indicators on the 5-minute chart pointing in his direction going down. He'll use a 2-minute to help him identify those setups, but the 1-minute to really take his entries. And quite honestly, the 1 minute, let me pull this up for you, the 1 minute actually has this particular pattern happen a little more often than it does on the 2 minute. So let me show you another example on the 1 minute. Right here, you can see this example. We have the MACD crossing, the SMA's crossing, so everything's in line. The trick's above the 0 line. It's not the greatest TC, but you certainly have, and that's really in a large part due to the market noise we have on a 1 minute chart here. But if you're looking at the TC and kind of filtering out some of this noise, you've got your low point here, and you've got a higher low here. And that's exactly where this kink is developing off of this candle right here. But you have these two candles, basically all three of these candles lining up with a mini resistance level. But he's looking at these two because it's this one that he's going to be taking the break. And as it breaks, he's in that for a good quick 5 ticks. This one's not a very good setup because you clearly don't have that whole setup, but it is showing a very and this might take some experience. I'm not sure if I can explain that, but this is kind of where I draw my little mini resistance level, breaking that. That's not quite the pattern we want to see, but that's another little somewhat of an example. Let me find a better one. Here we go. Right here. Can you see you've got a defined resistance off of those two candles, and Steve would be taking this trade right here as it breaks past that for a quick 5 ticks. Here's another example. You've got a little setup right here, in here. Could you get 5 ticks on that? No. That would be one that you wouldn't be able to make your 5 ticks on. But should you have taken this? I don't know. This is simply using a 1 minute chart and not looking at the longer time frames, what the 2 minute might be saying at that point. See, if I were to do this with a 2 minute chart, I'd really like to look at my setups on the 2 minute and the 1 minute refining my entries. Let's see if I can find any other good examples that just stick out. Let's see, later in the day the market started to move a bit. Well, let me just point out here, this might be something good to talk about right here. We're not looking at this because yes, we have this candle push down, close, this one open at basically the same level, and then oh, it breaks way down here. That's not what we're looking for. We don't want to see that much time before it breaks. We want it to be basically at the same level. So here's an example right here. You've got a close, open, and this next candle with the momentum pushes through, break, boom, there's your 5 ticks right there. You have pretty much the same thing happening here. Close, open, breaks, 5 ticks going long. That one would have actually probably scared me a little bit because with the entry candle it would have taken a full minute and I still wouldn't have filled at 5 ticks. So it would have taken 2 minutes, at least 2 candles for that to happen. And on a 1 minute chart I would have been a little nervous that didn't have the momentum to finish through. Let's see if we can find one more. Oh no, the market closed. Okay, so hopefully that illustrates a little bit of how to trade that. Let me go back and just highlight again one of those examples so you can see. We want to see the MACD, the SMAs, both in the long position for a trade going long or short for a trade going short. We want to have confirmation on the tricks as well, that this is indeed an upward trend. But you can see this is a beautiful SF setup for Steve Fairchild, Steve the Machine. As the momentum breaks that set, it's a very consistent pattern, and he does it very, very well. Steve generally takes 2 of those a day, finishes with 1 point, and he's good. So again, just the close, the open, basically same level or with very short wicks, if any. And then the next candle, as it's got momentum, it breaks through, take that, go short. You've got your 5 ticks. If you have any questions about this, let me know. This is not a traditional setup that I teach, but I will take that trade when it is a good opportunity. And so I just wanted to put this out there for people to explain why I'm doing what I do with that. And maybe you can try it out for a while and see if it works for you. It's a great little setup. All right, I'll see you in the trading room.